Hi, well, a while ago now, in fact, it was during the pandemic when we were all having to be a bit careful. One of my friends very kindly dropped off a log of lime wood. Now, I'd never actually had a bit of lime to carve, and it was great fun seeing what this lime was like. It was nice, freshly cut wood, so with a carving knife, it's like putting a knife through butter. And I was sort of thinking, oh, what could I actually make with this lime wood? And I was actually at the time making some belts and looking out from my shed, and you get nice little birds appearing in all the hedges. And there are blackbirds, blue tits, thrushes, and very occasionally you get something like a jay or a woodpecker. And I thought actually I'd quite like to carve some woodland birds. So that's what I did. I had great fun carving a little bird family. It was quite interesting because once you start carving something, you begin to appreciate the detail. You look at the birds and you look at their features and you think, okay, well, what makes a robin different to a wren or a blue tit? And I enjoyed it. It was quite sort of therapeutic in a funny sort of way. Not something I've particularly done before, but the lime wood was cutting beautifully with some simple, carving knives, and it was enjoyable. And I decided after a while, okay, well, actually, let's paint them as well. So I had a basic set of paints, got my brushes out, and I put little eyes in using little glass beads and mounted these birds on little logs and tried to make it look like a sort of natural setting. So I now have all dotted around my workshop various birds peeping out of corners, on the edges of little ledges, by the window. And I just enjoy seeing them. It's a silly little thing, but it's just fun. And it sort of got me thinking, because I quite enjoyed it as a project, and I sort of thought, well, perhaps I could do something else. And I remember as a child, my sisters playing with Dutch dolls, the old wooden Grodnatal dolls, and that got me on to making some dolls. Because again, my same friend, John, he very kindly dropped off a couple of logs of birch wood. And again, this birch was quite nice and wet, so it was easier to shape it while it's wet. I'm a great advocate of what I call Greenwood Working, so working freshly felled wood. It's so much easier to actually shape and to work with. You can split it. So if you take a log, as long as you've got a supply from somewhere, and if you're in the UK, you can perhaps become a member of the Bodgers, the Association of Greenwood Workers. Well worth doing. But you can actually have great fun. It's different to sort of shop bought lumber, which has all been seasoned and dried, because when it's green, you don't get the sawdust. So there's none of this nasty sawdust coming up at you or anything. It cuts so easily, and if you're going down the length of a bit of log, you can just split it. And it's just so much easier. So I really like it. And as you get into Greenwood Working, you begin to realise, well, actually, you can use nature's power and strength, because if, for example, you have a leg of a chair, you can use the drying out process of that wood as it shrinks to make a really tight joint. Because if you put in a narrow spindle into the side of a leg, and the spindle itself is dry wood, which you've perhaps dried over a few months, put it into the side of the chair leg. As the chair leg dries, it clamps around the dry wood, and you end up with a lovely, strong bit of furniture. And it's how our ancestors used to work. I think because we all now live in centrally heated houses, we all get paranoid about wood splitting. But actually, if you work with green wood carefully and you don't dry it out too quickly, it works really well. So anyway, I started making this Dutch doll family, and it sort of got me researching the Dutch dolls. And it really was a matter of one thing going on from another, as is often the case in life. So I started trying to find old documents about Dutch dolls, old articles. There's actually not very much information out there. But I did take all the measurements from my sister's dolls, and I got some dolls off of eBay, etc., worked on those, and started to make some nice reproduction dolls. And again, great fun. You're researching something, you're finding out how the dolls were probably made. I was exploring the old methods that might have been used to make the limbs using dowel plates, splitting the wood using a tool, a little bit like an axe, but it's an L-shaped sort of tool called a froe, and just generally having great fun making these little dolls out of a couple of logs of wood. And it's simple, it's creative, enjoyable. I painted up the dolls, and I also made outfits for them. Just in case you haven't heard about the Dutch dolls, they were very popular from around the 1800s onwards, and they were exported all around the world. They were largely made in German-speaking areas around the sort of northern Italy, Germany, in that sort of area initially, and then they were sort of spreading all over the place. Basically, farming communities would often make them during the winter months, and they got exported all over the world, and they were made in literally their thousands, like a huge sort of cottage industry. So it's interesting thinking about how would a farming person from around 1840 or whenever have been making wooden items. And of course the Greenwood working, the traditional woodworking techniques of using freshly felled wood come into play. So that has sort of led on to the next thing. I've gone from birds to dolls to writing a book about the Dutch dolls. And I've enjoyed doing that. It's creating something with a book, I suppose, and I quite like the idea of leaving a sort of legacy of books. I like the idea of other people enjoying the books and reading books, because I've done books on sock knitting machines and making socks on those. I've done one on making handmade shoes using traditional shoemaking methods. And of course, this is my third book on making Dutch dolls. So that's how things go. And I'm very grateful to my friend John, who dropped off those pieces of wood. He was being very good to do that. And I hope I've given a lot of pleasure along the way to people who perhaps have felt inspired with my YouTube videos to actually have a go at carving some wooden birds and to making some Dutch dolls, because I have put videos up on all of that, which again I've enjoyed doing. And I do get people often saying how with the videos, apart from the fact they're hopefully entertaining, people have said how it's got them back into woodworking, or they've reconnected with perhaps, family members doing bits of woodworking. And it's just nice to hear these sorts of stories, or it's helped their mental health or whatever. And I like to feel that hopefully happens quite a lot. It's just another little way of, if you like, one good thing leading on. So anyway, I'm going to post one of these books to my friend John so he can have a look through it. I've put his name in there in the acknowledgements to say a little thank you, because I am appreciative of the logs that he gave me. It's very kind and thoughtful of him. And I think it's the kind of thing, if we can all do little things to help other people as the day goes through, it's always rather nice. Good for us and good for other people. So there you are. That's me and Dutch dolls. So as usual, I've put a lot of pictures in the book. Always like lots of colourful pictures and quite a lot of explanatory text as well. It's quite a slim book, this one, so it's a lot cheaper than my other books. But if you are interested, it's on Amazon. I'll pop some links below for the UK and the US. It's also available across Europe as well. Anyway, thanks very much and see you in the next video. Bye bye.